Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a truly transformative book, Stoner by John Williams. This book is about a seemingly ordinary man, William Stoner, and his life that may appear quiet and uneventful at first glance. But as we journey through his experiences, you'll see that Stoner's story is incredibly deep, meaningful, and motivational. It's about struggle, passion, loss, and how we find purpose in the everyday moments. By the end of this video, you'll realize that life doesn't need to be grand or glamorous to be meaningful. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's explore the extraordinary journey of an ordinary man. Chapter 1. The Early Life of William Stoner. William Stoner's story begins on a small farm in rural Missouri in the 1890s. From a young age, he's taught that life is about hard work and dreams have little space on the farm. His father believes that success comes from grit and sweat, not imagination or intellectual pursuits. Stoner's future seems decided. He's to follow in his father's footsteps. But when Stoner goes off to the University of Missouri at 19, it's a bold leap into an entirely new world. He chooses to study English literature, turning away from the farm's demands. This is the first key moment in his life, the choice to break away from expectations and explore something deeply personal. This moment speaks to all of us who have ever felt the weight of family or society's expectations pushing us in one direction, only to have the courage to take a different path. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes it's not about following what's expected of you, but about pursuing what excites you, what challenges you to grow, even if it seems uncertain or unorthodox. Chapter 2. The Discovery of Teaching. After graduating, Stoner becomes a professor at the very university he once attended. He's not seeking prestige or fame. He's simply passionate about literature and wants to teach others. But teaching isn't easy, especially when his colleagues don't seem to care much about intellectual passion. Stoner's love for teaching is unwavering, but his colleagues view him as boring, unambitious, and stuck in his ways. They are focused on climbing the academic ladder, but Stoner is focused on his students, and that's where the real fulfillment lies for him. Now here's the lesson. Too often we measure success by external achievements, titles, promotions, recognition, but Stoner's life shows us that real success isn't in what the world thinks of you. It's in showing up, doing what you love, and dedicating yourself to it, even when no one is watching. Stoner doesn't need accolades to know that he's doing something meaningful. And that's something we can all take away. If you love what you do and you do it with dedication, that's success in itself. Chapter 3. The Struggles of Marriage. Stoner marries Edith, a woman who on the surface seems like a good match, but their marriage quickly turns into an emotional battlefield. Edith is cold, distant, and emotionally unavailable. Stoner, on the other hand, wants connection and love. He tries to bridge the gap again and again, only to find himself increasingly isolated in his own home. It's a painful, slow breakdown of intimacy. This chapter is tough to read because we see Stoner trying so hard, but he can't change Edith. He can't fix the relationship on his own. But what stands out here is his quiet persistence. Even though Edith's rejection stings, Stoner doesn't walk away. He stays. This might seem like a sad chapter, but it's a reminder that love isn't always easy. It's not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about enduring, trying, and remaining committed, even when it feels like you're not getting anything back. And sometimes that's the most difficult but honorable choice we can make. Chapter 4. The Professional Struggles with Hollis Lomax. Here we meet Hollis Lomax, a colleague at the university who becomes a thorn in Stoner's side. Lomax is everything Stoner is not: ambitious, manipulative, and willing to do whatever it takes to climb the academic ladder. He seeks power and recognition at any cost, while Stoner remains dedicated to his teaching. Lomax undermines Stoner's reputation, tries to make him look incompetent, and creates constant tension between them. Stoner's response: he doesn't engage. He doesn't stoop to Lomax's level. Instead, he remains true to himself, focused on teaching and his students. And even though it seems like Lomax is winning the academic game, Stoner knows that his work is meaningful, regardless of recognition. This is such an important lesson. Sometimes we have people around us who seem to be climbing ahead, stepping on others, and seeking power. But true success isn't about winning in those games. It's about sticking to your principles and focusing on the things that truly matter. Stoner teaches us that integrity always holds its value, even if the world doesn't notice. Chapter 5. The Affair with Catherine. Amid the emotional turmoil of his marriage, Stoner starts an affair with Catherine, a fellow professor. For the first time in years, Stoner feels alive again. He feels seen, understood, and emotionally connected. It's a brief but passionate relationship, and Stoner finds himself caught in the delicate balance of longing, guilt, and desire. But as we know, every choice has consequences. Catherine is forced to leave, and Stoner is left to pick up the pieces of his life. The affair, while fulfilling in the moment, only brings more pain in the long run. This chapter speaks to the complexity of human emotions. Stoner isn't a villain for seeking happiness. He's a man who feels deeply. His affair isn't just about betrayal, it's about trying to find something missing in his life. And this is so relatable. We all face moments where we look for happiness in places that might not be healthy, but it doesn't make us bad people. It makes us human. Stoner teaches us that sometimes we have to confront our own vulnerabilities, and the key is not letting those mistakes define us. Chapter 6. The Strained Relationship with Grace. Stoner's relationship with his daughter, Grace, is fraught with tension. She grows up to be emotionally distant, and no matter how hard Stoner tries to connect with her, she pulls away. His attempts to bridge the gap between them are met with resistance. The love Stoner tries to offer feels unreciprocated. It's painful for him, and he begins to feel like a failure as a father. But what stands out is Stoner's determination to keep trying. Even when Grace doesn't want him, he keeps showing up, hoping one day she'll come around. It's heartbreaking, but it's also a reflection of unconditional love. Sometimes our relationships with our loved ones don't turn out the way we hope, but the act of showing up, continuing to love, and trying your best, that's what makes us resilient. And Stoner teaches us that even in our most painful relationships, we can find meaning by staying present, even if the results aren't what we expected. Chapter 7. The Later Years and Reflection. As Stoner enters his later years, his body begins to fail and his health declines. He looks back at his life, his marriage, his career, his attempts at connection, and he finds something surprising: peace. He never achieved fame, he wasn't celebrated by the world, but he realizes that he lived a life of quiet integrity. He stayed true to his passion for teaching, even when it wasn't appreciated. He loved, even when it wasn't reciprocated, and in that he finds a quiet satisfaction. This part of the book is incredibly powerful because it shows us that our value doesn't come from the world's applause. Stoner's life is a reminder that peace comes from knowing you did your best, from living in alignment with your values, and from committing to the work and relationships that matter most, even when no one notices. This is a lesson for all of us. True fulfillment doesn't come from external recognition. It comes from internal peace, knowing you gave everything you had to the things that mattered most. Chapter 8. Stoner's Final Years and Legacy. Finally, Stoner dies quietly, almost unnoticed. His life and work seem to fade into the background, his impact barely acknowledged. But the legacy he leaves behind isn't in the headlines. It's in the lives he touched through his teaching, the love he gave, and the integrity with which he lived. This ending could seem sad at first, but it's actually beautiful. Stoner's legacy is in the small, quiet things: the moments of teaching a student, the times he stayed true to his beliefs, the love he showed despite hardship. It teaches us that our true legacy isn't in the noise we make, but in the quiet, everyday acts that add up to a meaningful life. You don't need to be famous or have accolades to leave a mark on the world. Stoner's story proves that sometimes the most important things we do are the ones no one ever hears about. So that's the journey of William Stoner, a man who lived a quiet, sometimes painful life, but one that was full of meaning and purpose. His story shows us that you don't need to achieve greatness to live a meaningful life. It's about staying true to your values, showing up for the people who matter, and giving your best even when the world doesn't seem to notice. So remember, you are enough. Your quiet persistence, your dedication, and your authenticity matter more than you might realize. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, keep living your truth.